What's up, guys? It is Mark from dbsdecks.com, and before we get to the deck profile here, I just want to say thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. You have no idea how ecstatic I was when I saw that number appear on my screen. I was like, oh my god, we did it. But it's more than just a number. It is a showing of the continued support that the community has for the entirety of the DBS Decks program itself, i.e. the website, Twitch, and the YouTube all combined into one. And, you know, it's overwhelming how much support we have from the community, and I truly am grateful for everything that everybody has, given to help make this possible. So, I want to be able to continue to do more awesome things in the future, make the site bigger, make it better, help make the community grow, keep the community strong and healthy. So whenever there's something you guys need, please feel free to reach out. I'm no more than a click away on Facebook. You can find me in the groups, just tag me, just let me know. I can help you in any way possible. So again, thank you so much for the support, and I hope we just continue to grow and do more amazing things in the long run, because that's truly all I want, is just to make this the best possible experience for everybody out there. So with the mushy stuff out of the way, right, let's go ahead and get to the deck profile itself, which is Hirudegarn. And this is a leader that I have been talking about profusely on my streams for the last 2 weeks since I've seen this card appear, right? It's amazing. Hirudegarn, for those who don't really know who the character is, he appeared in the movie Wrath of the Dragon. It's a good 50 minutes. It's a really good movie to watch. I enjoyed it. It's, I think, the last of the Dragon Ball Z films before Battle of the Gods, but it's really good. I truly did enjoy it. It's a little bit different, but it's a lot of fun. Now, the leader focuses around field control and hand control, and that's kind of big because we haven't exactly had a leader that does that, without the outward assistance of other things. This leader and the archetype that he provides actually does it inherently within themselves, which is kind of interesting. So let's talk about Hirudegarn here. His front side says, when this card attacks a leader card, you may discard one battle card from your hand and place it in your drop, or choose one battle card in your hand and place it in the drop area. And if you do, draw 2 cards. And then he readies 2 energy when he awakens. And then auto, when this card attacks, draw 1 card. Then if you have 4 or more energy, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it on top of their deck. So he's got huge draw advantage in the first part of the ability. And then when he awakens, he starts tapping at your opponent's door there and then says, hey, I'm going to start taking your hand away from you and putting it where it just doesn't need to be, which is on top of the deck, which for a player is actually a really awful thing to happen. People will say, well, I'm still getting the advantage off the life when I take the attack. Yes, but you're not getting the advantage off the draw unless you used a super combo. Even then, you're still not netting anything off that super combo. You're getting that same card back. So it's going to be a whole nother draw that you have to do till you get to the next card to get that plus again. So it does hurt. It actually slows your opponent down immensely without them realizing it. So that is something that we want to look forward to. Now, Hidden Darkness Minosho is going to be the first card we look at here for the battle cards. And it says, auto, when this card is placed in your drop area from your hand, if your leader card is a Phantom Demon, which Hirudegarn is, you may choose up to 1 Hirudegarn the Wanderer from your deck and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Now, that is important because, again, we saw that Hirudegarn says, when this card attacks, choose 1 battle card, discard the thing. Okay, that's how we get this into our drop area. And when it's placed, we get to go search. So we searched now for Hirudegarn the Wanderer. This says, auto, when this card attacks, place up to 3 cards from the top of your deck into your drop area. Now, while milling is always a gamble, right, there are cards that we do want in the drop area, such as Impenetrable Defense Hirudegarn and Tapion. And running those at 4, we'll probably see them very quickly, but we need to see them for his effects to go off. So, which is activate main, to pay 3 energy, choose and send both this card from your battle area and to Tapion in your drop area and to the warp, and then choose 1 Impenetrable Defense Hirudegarn from your drop area or warp and play it. So that's why we need everything in the drop area. There's a lot of, this is going to be in the drop area, but the benefit is that, a lot of things can come back from the warp and stay there. So just got to make sure we always have a Tapion in our drop area. And we're running 4 of him, which is good. So for Tapion, auto, when you play this card, you may choose up to 2 cards from your life and add them to your hand. If you choose to add 1 or more cards to your hand, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 5 or less and spin it to the top of the deck. So that is really good. So again, it's taking another thing off the field or out of the hand and putting it on top of the owner's deck. And it's, if it's a 5 or more, that's a big thing to kind of, draw and have to, deal with. Not exactly a helpful card. Then we have, again, going, we're staying on this thing here. We're going to skip a couple of cards and we'll get back to them. We have the Impenetrable Defense Hirudegarn, which was the one that was referenced in Hirudegarn the Wanderer. So Impenetrable Defense Hirudegarn's barrier, and then when your opponent attacks with one of their cards, if your leader card is a Phantom Demon, you may send this card and 1 card from your hand to the warp. If you do so, negate the attack, then play this card from your warp at the start of your next main phase. So we have a lot of negates. We essentially have an infinite negate here, right? It can just sit and negate over and over and over and over again, which is huge because we don't care if this card attacks. We just know that it's huge. Then we go down finally to Colossal Malice Hirudegarn. And this card is EX Evolve for 2 blue and 2. And it's got to be Hirudegarn with 7 or more. And it's barrier. And then auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and up to 1 card from their hand and place it on top of the owner's deck in any order. So you're stacking 2 this time. Again, not helpful for your opponent. It's taking their hand down, taking their field down. It's so good. And then when your opponent attacks with one of their cards, if your leader card is a Phantom Demon, you may send this card, 1 card from your hand to the warp. If you do so, negate the attack and then play this at the next start of your main phase. Now, funny story about cards with EX Evolve, right? When you evolve on top of something and you send it to the warp, what happens to the cards under it? Well, they're going to go to the drop area, right? So that means this was under it. That's going to go to the drop area. That means this is now live again as long as you have one of these hanging out. So you can kind of see where the full circle starts to come around and you'll be able to start spitting these out left and right. Again, this is a very slow process, not really slow, but it is something that it's easy to maintain. As long as you play it uninterrupted. So as long as you're doing everything correctly and you're making your plays right, this deck works, and it does work very well. It's got a very solid engine inside of it. And then we look at, well, what helps boost that engine? Well, the extra cards actually do a lot of work in this. So Ectoplasm is a card that's going to help protect our low-level Hirudegarn the Wanderer there, right? Choose when counterplay happens, choose up to 1 Hirudegarn in your battle area and send it to your warp. And at the start of your next main phase, plays that card from your warp. So let's say they're playing something like Kale or some like the Gohan or Beerus to try and pop your dude. You just Ectoplasm and send it away, and it comes back safely. That's simple. Legendary Flute. If your leader card is blue, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less and return it to their hand. If that card was your own battle card, draw 1 card. So you can choose one or the other from either your side or their side, and then you can spin it. So again, Hirudegarn the Wanderer protecting everything, getting Tapion back. However you need to do it, it protects stuff. And it lets you draw a card, and it's a free card to play, so that's not bad. Phantom Flame Cannon, this is basically Zensu on steroids. It gains 10,000 power for the duration of the turn, and choose up to 1 card in your opponent's hand and place it on top of their deck. That's only if your leader card is Hirudegarn. So it's very specific, but very, very good. This card is ridiculous. I love this card. This is probably one of my favorite cards, and the art's not terrible looking either. But this is probably one of my favorite cards for the entire deck itself. Then we have our Weeze's Coercion to keep the negates alive, and minus Killy Zone to send 3 cards from our drop to our warp, draw 1 card, and your opponent may not activate counterplay skills for the duration of the turn. I'm still iffy on this card, but it is what it is. It doesn't really affect how our things happen, but it does allow us to kind of get over bloodlust and other things. So I don't know. I need some opinions on whether or not I should keep this card in there if we can make room for other things. But I don't know. I'm torn on it. So let me know what you guys think on that one. So then finally, let's get back to here. We have Hoy, the Emissary of the Flame, which was the guy who was basically responsible for bringing Hirudegarn back to life. He is the blue super combo for this deck. And when you combo this card, if your leader card is a Phantom Demon and your life is at 4 or less, you may place 1 card from your hand in the drop area. And if you do so, draw 2 cards, and this card gains 10,000 combo. So it's going to be a draw 2, which is super huge. This card does a lot of drawing. It just draws like crazy. And then we have Sneak Attack, Vegeta, Barrier, and then when this card attacks, your leader card, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it on top of their deck. So we're just going to be spinning a lot. Between the Hirudegarn leader and Vegeta attacking, you're just going to be spinning your opponent's hand all the time. It's always going to happen. So that's huge, right? And then we have Oath's Power Tapion doing crazy things. There's always something happening to always get stuff spinning on top of your opponent's deck. And they're not really going to net much out of that either. So, you know, this has got a huge control factor to it. And then also we have the 4-time control Cronoa to top it all off and make it so that veggies basically can't hurt us, right? So this deck is like the ultimate control deck for the format. And I know there's going to definitely be some work to be done on it. There will be different builds of this, but this is my build. This is my template for it. You know, please, you know, feel free to use it and, you know, comment on how you think the deck should be built. We'll see too, if we look down here at the newly designed charts, you know, there are different, you know, it's pretty standard all the way across. We have our 4 super combos, our 8 10,000 combos, and then our 25,000 combos. So keeping our combos alive and protecting ourselves is not going to be a difficult thing to do. And, you know, it's mostly blue. You know, it's 43 blue, 7 black, and then we have, you know, a very solid extra curve, which, you know, with 11 0-cost extra cards and 7 1-cost extra cards, our extra card ability is very cheap. So our resources that we have to keep alive are actually very minimal. And then we have, you know, 8 battle cards for turn 1, 2, and 3 to drop, and then we have 7 battle cards for 4 battle cards for the 7 drop, and then 4 for the 9, which are the 2 Hirudegarns. So it's not really a huge curve, you know, and it plays within itself a lot too, because once you get the engine going, it just does what it needs to do. But that is the deck. You know, we'll throw the visual view up here just to give everybody a nice little peek at it. But this is the deck. This is what it looks like. This is what it does. It's very, very easy to build. It's not very expensive. A few rares. Most of it's common and uncommon, though. So let me know what you guys think. I would love feedback on it. You know, again, thanks for all the support, guys. And I will see you next time with another sweet deck profile. Take care.